Hello, fellow Econauts, and welcome back to our show. I'm here with my brother Ben, the Rocket Man, and we are talking about space, science, and economy. Hey, Ben, how are you?
Hi Simon, hi fellow Econauts, how's it going? What's the topic today?
Our topic today is space tourism, and my first question is what is space tourism?
I think that's a very obvious answer. Let's put it this way, but maybe not that obvious, otherwise we wouldn't talk about it. I mean, the first thing which comes to mind obviously is for everybody who's flying to space, with Virgin Galactic or similar endeavors. But I believe anything related to space, so even if you are a stargazer or you go to watch a launch, I would consider this as space tourism.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair assumption that anything that is related to space should be considered space tourism. I mean, it doesn't mean that going to a space hotel is the only way to enjoy uh, exploring
Exactly.
space, right? I
Yeah.
think it's a very great assumption. So, who is the typical space tourist in your opinion?
So I think there's no typical space tourist as such. It clearly depends on what we are actually doing or what the activity is. So let's say we go to the launches and like actually be on a rocket or on a vehicle to go to space, or even at some point maybe in a hotel space station with a spaceport. Um, I think then in the moment, clearly because of the price tag, it's people who can afford it. So it will not be me or you for the time being. So you need a bit of cash in your pocket to be able to afford it. But then if you go to watch a launch, that's pretty much everybody who's interested in rockets. Stargazing is everybody who's interested in the stars, and I think that applies to almost everybody. Maybe not everybody, but a lot of people definitely are going to a planetarium, um, which often has that taste of education. So maybe some people are not that interested in that, but a lot of people love stars and love to watch the constellations and everything. So if they don't have to listen to a long, lengthy talk about how everything was created, I think then just being amazed by the picture, more or less by the nature of it.
I think it's also human nature to explore, right? And exploring space, the unknown, it's part of everybody more or less, right? Everybody's like interested. The little explorer in us is it's present in every single person, right? And I think if we can expand space tourism in different fields, then it is accessible for everyone. I think that's a
Yeah,
very
100%. Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Do you think somebody watching Star Trek is a space tourist as well?
I think so. Yeah, actually, well, side. Well, it's yeah, maybe, maybe, perhaps.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, these days with the metaverse and everything, you don't even have to leave the house anymore to watch another place
that's
on
right.
it. So
Well,
I think yes, that's nice.
interesting that you mentioned Star Trek because my follow up question is, what is the significance for the space economy, the space tourism? And if I may inject here, if we look at Star Trek having an effect on the space industry, and then sci-fi, it's basically drawing from what we already know about space. It's kind of an interesting synergy there. But let's
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
What's the economy? Sorry, what is the significance for the space economy, the space tourism?
I think there's certainly two very important directions for the significance. One is for the space economy in itself. They can make a lot of money from space tourism. So um, appealing to many, many customers, be them like very rich or like just having events and activities for everybody. can make a lot of money, which you can then use to actually develop better technologies. And that in return can lead to lower cost for launches, for example. So if you have more people interested in it and more vehicles available, at some point it will be less and less expensive, and also the technology might be more and more proven, and therefore it can be at some point. Look at flying. How expensive has been an airplane ticket in the past, 50 years ago, and nowadays, before the pandemic, there in Europe you could fly for pretty much like less than €100. You could fly from one airport to another. So it was extremely affordable for a lot of people. And at some point, if we have enough vehicles available, I believe that launches can be affordable for everybody. And then on the other hand, there's definitely an influence from the space economy to everybody, to the population, because space tourism also inspires everybody to maybe to go on this journey to actually, trying to achieve a job in space and trying to improve something in space, or become an explorer, become a rocket scientist, become somebody working in that industry. I don't think it would. So if there would be no exposure to space in the first place, how could you be inspired to actually do something in space or for space or in the space economy?
Yeah,
And then,
I agree.
right, and then lastly, there will be second and third degree industries surrounding the space tourism. So let's take the example of rocket launches. Let's say you have an area where you have very regular launches and they are available to be watched from the public. In order to cater for everybody in that area, you need infrastructure for to actually get there. So you can't have it just somewhere in the desert or something. You need streets and trains and maybe an airport and so on. And then you need restaurants, you need cafes, and all these things, all these buildings and other businesses, they pretty much become space economy then as well, although they are normal things, normal non-space related fields. But I think they are then becoming also a space economy, maybe second and third degree, as I said. But yeah,
I think it's pretty much like when we look at airports, and if we look at the history of airports, the first airports were like really bare bone. There was a big field. You had to go from the main building to the plane, enter the plane, and then fly away. I actually did that. Oh my god, I'm so old.
there's still some airports like this.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
just thought about that. It's like crazy to think about it. And now they're like little cities, like malls. You have like restaurants, you have like cafes. You can hang out. Even if you pick up someone, you have the ability to just spend an entire day there, and they have like even attractions there for the kids. They have like playgrounds and
Yeah.
all that, right? And if we use that to help our imagination in terms of spaceports, where it becomes like more, I would say like a regular launch to a space hotel, then suddenly it's not that far fetched to think about, oh, all this economy that is surrounding that, and everybody, it's like it, you know, basically getting something out of it. I think it's a very interesting way to look at that, right?
Yes. Yeah. 100%. I mean, also you considering. So let's assume fast forward a couple decades, and it becomes normal. It's a you decide every year. Some families make a bigger vacation every year, and let's say they have to decide, oh, let's this year we go to Hawaii, or we go to Australia, Europe, whatever. oh, let's go to the space hotel. It's like all in a similar availability. Um,
Let's go to the
a lot of people,
moon.
let's go to the moon.
Let's go
But
to the
yeah, I
moon.
think a lot of people don't really only want that pure experience going, or I have been on a space station, or I've been on, I've been doing something in Australia in the outback. I think a lot of people also want some events surrounding it, or even, so let's say services. They want to be pampered. It's your vacation. You don't want to work on your vacation. You want to come back, relax, and so therefore, at some point, you need staff as well. So you need
Right,
people
right.
regularly going up and down. So
It's funny because I think if we look at a boat, a ship, right? If we look at any ship, if you have been on a ship, um, you are required to do something. You cannot just be on a ship and just sit there, right? But
yeah,
if you look at the big cruisers, they are basically built for just being, a tourist, just, relaxing. They have like all the stuff going on the ship, and nobody's doing anything except for the crew. But if
yeah,
you're on a smaller boat, there's no. I think that's a very good analogy to what a space hotel is comparing
might
to,
look like later.
yeah, comparing to the
Yeah, yeah.
ISS that we have right now, where everybody's required to do something, otherwise it's like, not working
Gets
anymore, right?
quite boring. The pool will look different in space, though. It's just a blob flying and floating,
Just a
and you
big,
just jump in from any side.
yeah, that's it. I just imagine that, in the bubble. All right. Okay, that's already it for today. It was very nice talking to you, and as always, if
As
you
always, yeah.
if you like that show, don't forget to leave a like, and I hope I see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye.